High school sports, we've got it covered. Overtime starts now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Overtime. I'm Regan Holgate.
And I'm Scott Leber. The Nick 10 race is coming into focus after a big night involving the top 4 teams. We're going to get into that in just a moment.
It's a mad scramble for playoff berths in the Big Northern Conference. We'll see which teams improved their chances tonight. We'll also check up on the NUIC and the Dupec Rivermen, who played a key game in Fulton.
And in our Spotlight segment, we're going into the trenches to learn what it's like for those big linemen playing on the line of scrimmage.
Just like last year, the race for the Nick 10 Conference Championship has been a wild one. Hononegah took a big step forward last week, defeating Boylan. That put the Indians all alone in first place.
And tonight, they had to try to hang on to it against a real good Belvedere North team whose only loss was in overtime at Boylan 4 weeks ago. This is the Gillies Heating and Air Conditioning Game of the Week. Belvedere North beat Hononegah last year for the first time ever. Hononegah tonight wearing pink numbers and trim for Cure for Cancer. Going to pick up the action in the first quarter. Hononegah running some counter action, and it is Braden Lane on the carry with a blocker in front of him. That's a 19-yard touchdown. Hononegah strikes first. Second quarter, Cole Warren airs it out, and Melcher makes a leaping grab for a 35-yard touchdown. The lead was 14-0. Belvedere North tries to work the edge with Eric Roman, but a great tackle there by Kevin Van Briesen. Now check out this next play. Warren rolls out. Is Cole Schmall downfield, who makes a one-handed grab at the 3. Did you catch that? Look at that. A legit one-handed grab there. Ball did not touch the ground. Wow. Very next play, Grayson Motter will pound into the end zone easy. It was 21-0. Still in the third quarter, Warren has lots of time in the pocket, and he has Isaiah Huey streaking downfield. That's a 40-yard TD, making it 28-0. Fourth quarter, North did get on the board. Max Gillen-Swan to Ethan Tuckley for the touchdown. But Motter would deliver his second touchdown for Hononegah. And that Hononegah defense was just something all night. Andre Pilgrim here making the big tackle throwdown. Hononegah beats Belvedere North 34-7. The Indians are 7-0. Your defense has been tough as nails all season. How would you rate this performance holding Belvedere North to 1 score?
You know, I think it's our best performance. I mean, we just did our jobs and, you know, everything else did itself.
It was a really good night. We had a really good time on defense, but there was a lot of points. We caused like 30 yards on our own problems. But we just bounce back and we play the game we always play.
What was the biggest key to really containing Belvedere North? You didn't let them get any chunk plays at all tonight.
Really, we just got to stick to our assignments. We worked all week. D-line, we knew we had to get the fullback because that's their biggest guy. That he gets the most yards for them.
What's it like for you to be able to contribute in back-to-back big games and both wins like this?
It's something I've always wanted to do, and the excitement is crazy. I love the excitement from the fans and the team hyping me up.
Well, our Nick 10 analyst, Tim Bailey, was at that game from start to finish. We welcome Tim in as always, and that was total domination by Hononegah. Yeah. Let's start with the defensive side of the football. I mean, like I said there in the interview, they didn't give up any chunk plays tonight. What impresses you about that defense?
That front four was stout tonight. I mean, that front four that they have, that's probably one of the best front fours in the Nick 10 for sure. The way that they flowed at the second level with the linebackers, just making sure that Bertolino wasn't really bursting anything back, cutting across field. The secondary did a great job coming up, making big tackles. I mean, it was a concerted defensive effort by Hononegah tonight. And boy, what can you say about them? They just played phenomenal.
All right, and let's move to the offensive side. The Indians had 4 different players score 5 touchdowns. You know, it's got to be real nice for Cole Warren to have just that bevy of playmakers around him, right?
It has to be. I mean, right now, he should be taking his guys out for steak dinners. I mean, the guys came up big for him. I mean, he's got a bevy of playmakers that he can go to at his disposal. They all came up big, but you know, you got to give credit to that offensive line. You never really saw Cole Warren on the ground tonight. Yeah, you see him here escaping out of the pocket when he had to, but overall, his playmakers that he has on the offensive side, those weapons that he has at his disposal, all stepped up tonight. Again, it was a concerted effort on offense as well.
Yeah, like I've said all year, I don't see any holes in this team, but was there anything at all Belvedere maybe could have done a little differently to make this game more competitive?
Well, you know, I got to give Belvedere North credit. I mean, Coach Beck, you know, he tried to pass tonight. You know, I mean, you know, they weren't really successful in the actual passing game, but they attempted passes tonight. But just the way that they were actually able to put the brakes on Bertolino and not let him hit that big one, that 50, 60 yarder that we're accustomed to seeing him actually run. And I don't know if you guys knew this tonight, but Brown was not in the backfield tonight either. So that may have been an issue right there that kept Belvedere North from actually moving the chains. But again, you got to credit Hononegah's defense.
Yeah, Brown, by the way, has been rebounding from an injury that he suffered a few weeks ago, but he was in uniform tonight. Yep. But yeah, they did not play him on offense.
That definitely might have had an effect. Okay, let's look down the road a little bit. Obviously, now they've just really got their eyes on the postseason. How built for success is Hononegah for the playoffs?
I think they're built for success. I think they have a great coaching staff. I think they have great players. I think they're playing with a lot of confidence right now, and I think that's what you want at this time of the year in October, going in. You're ready to hit November, playoffs start. You want to be really clicking at the right time, and I think that right now they're clicking. They've hit their stride. Can they continue to play at this clip that they're playing at? Remains to be seen. But as it relates to making that good playoff run, I can see Hononegah really doing some really good things in the near future here.
I'm very impressed with them. Tim, we're going to keep you in the studio here because we got another game we want to talk about with you in the Nick 10 coming up after the break.
Sounds good.
Boylan coming up against Harlem. Would it be the Titans or the Huskies coming away with the win? Stay with us.
The Harlem Huskies look like they made some strides the last few weeks.
They've won 4 straight games and they got Jamani Muhammad going, but have they improved enough to handle the Boylan Titans? That's who the Huskies hosted tonight. Boylan finished off their first drive of the game with a touchdown, but they wouldn't find the end zone again until late in the second quarter. Huskies driving here, but it's Ryan Stark coming in hot with a sack. Harlem could not get the ball moving on offense tonight. Next Boylan possession, Connor Dennis drops back and airs it out to Phillip Dixon for a big gain and a Titan first down. A few snaps later, the handoff goes to Donovan Hansard. He muscles his way in for 6. Boylan takes a 17-0 lead into the half. And 3 and out was the name of the game for the Huskies tonight. We'll pick things up with the Titans in the third quarter, and Hansard moves into the end zone for another, and that was actually ruled a touchdown. 24-0 Boylan. Next drive for Harlem, and Jamani Muhammad gets absolutely stuffed up by Austin Alonso. It was all Boylan in this one, folks. 45-0 the final. The Titans are now 6-1. All right, Tim joins us again for his reaction to this game. Tim, not really anything surprising there, but maybe you thought that Harlem was going to put up more of a fight, right?
I would have to agree with you. I thought Harlem would actually come out and make this more of a game.
Yeah.
It's a home game. Harlem started playing well after the loss to Hononegah a few weeks back. They were making some strides, and they run into a really good team like Boylan. I said on my podcast this week, I said, Boylan's going to get back to business. They're going to get back to playing Boylan football, and I think that's what we saw tonight.
Yeah, real nice bounce-back game for the Titans after a heavy emotional loss last week to Hononegah. All right, let's take a look now at the updated Nick 10 standings, and it's clear now that Hononegah at 7-0 is in the driver's seat. The Titans still hoping to make up one game on the Indians in these final 2 weeks. Titans were in a similar spot last year. Belvedere North and Harlem mathematically could still tie for first place, but they're probably battling for second or third. Let's take a look at who's left on the schedule for these teams. Hononegah's remaining opponents are Belvedere and Auburn. If they win next week at Belvedere, they will at least clinch a tie for the championship. Boylan's remaining opponents are Guilford and Freeport. Belvedere North and Harlem play each other next week. Belvedere will finish with Guilford, Belvedere North. Harlem will finish with Belvedere.
And folks, if you want more from Tim on local football, check out the Bailey Pod. You can find that on YouTube. He updates that each week with interviews from local coaches and players.
Please check it out. Check it out.
Thanks, Tim. Okay. We're going to see you again next week, all right?
Guys, appreciate it.
All right, let's continue with more Nick 10 highlights. Guilford and East battled at Swanson Stadium. First drive for the Vikings. There's a miscue on the snap. It's recovered by quarterback Grayson Weber, but Jordan McClellan comes up big with the sack, and a host of other E-Raps will finish him off. Still no score in the first quarter. Now to the second. The handoff goes to the Catman himself, Javius Catlin, for a 17-yard gain and an East first down. Next tap goes to the big man, Lee Smith. You gotta love a guy that just runs up the gut and takes everyone with him. That'll be first and goal, E-Rabs. Fourth and goal now, Catlin on the carry, and he's in for the touchdown and a successful 2-point conversion, made it 8-0 East. And how about this? The E-Rabs get their second win of the season, 16-6.
Big win for them. Well, Freeport and Jefferson took the field tonight at Wyatt Stadium. The Jayhawks donating love looks, fires, and finds Randy Johnson for the 26-yard TD. Pretzel's turn now. Cameron Werner seeing some open green space and sprints past the Jayhawks all the way for the 70-yard touchdown. Freeport up 7-6. Second quarter, Jefferson on its next drive. Sean Gathright gonna zoom through a hole and zings all the way to the end zone for a 46-yard touchdown as the Jayhawks regain the lead 12-7. Freeport now with a fourth down. Peyton Woker, quarterback, and they give the ball off to Cameron Werner. Werner stopped by the Jayhawks. That's a turnover on downs. Freeport, though, went on to win this game by a nose, 19-18. In the other Nick 10 game, Auburn snapped a two-game losing streak. The Knights won at Belvedere 19-8. Well, we have our spotlight story on the guys who play in the trenches coming up in a bit.
But next we have Big Northern action. Several teams were battling to keep their playoff hopes on track. You're watching Overtime.
There are 5 teams in the Big Northern Conference scrambling to make the playoffs. The Byron Tigers, they're not one of them. They've been roaring all season in the Big Northern Conference.
Yeah, and it felt like they had their playoff ticket in hand when they showed up for their first practice in August. The Tigers have been feasting on their opponents all season. That was unlikely to change tonight when they hosted 1-5 Winnebago. Mitchell Cunningham back to pass for the Indians, but he's sacked by Kyle Jones. First play from scrimmage for the Tigers is a handoff to Braden Knoll. He finds space, and you know where this is headed, folks. To the house. Touchdown, Byron. Next drive for the Tigers. This time a pitch to Knoll. Breaks a tackle, finds blockers, catches his balance there on the sideline, and dives into the end zone for another touchdown. 14-0, Byron. Bago needed something to go their way. Handoff to Logan Olson, who finds space on the left side for the first down. Then it's Cunningham again, going through the air now, deep for Blaze Brown, deep in Tigers territory, and he's got it. But the Tigers defense would clamp down from there. Fourth down, Cunningham under pressure, just has to throw it away. Byron ran away with this one, shutting out Winnebago 62-0.
Genoa Kingston and Stillman Valley are two of those Big Northern teams fighting to get into the playoffs. They were both sitting at 3-3 going in this game at Stillman. Braden Rogers carrying for the Cards. And the touchdown there for the big fella. That was in the third quarter. It was 20-0 Cardinals at that point. Genoa Kingston down, but showing some heart in this one. Nathan Kleba deep. And Dakota Dydick with a great juggling grab there in Stillman territory. So Kleba goes to the air once again. This time for the end zone and for Hayden Hodgson, who makes the grab, gets both feet in for the TD, it appeared. That made it 20-6. Now, after forcing a punt by Stillman, the Cogs have it again. Kleba looking to Hodgson again down the sideline. That's another big play. Kleba a few plays later under pressure, looking for Hodgson again. Deep in the end zone, and my goodness, what a night for him. Another touchdown. Suddenly it was a one-score game. Cogs defense getting up after another third down stop, forcing another punt. Cogs called their last time out. Fourth down now for the Cogs. Cardinals need a stop. Nathan Kleba looking to pick up a first through the air. The pass is tipped and incomplete, and that's it. Stillman holds on to win it 20-12. Playoff spots are also on the minds of the folks at Rockford Lutheran tonight.
That's where the Crusaders hosted North Boone. Taylor Castro covered that game for us, and she joins us now. Hi, Taylor.
Hey guys, North Boone was looking for its 5th win tonight. That would make the Vikings eligible for the playoffs. Lutheran was going after its 4th win. That would leave the Crusaders 1 win shy of the magic number for the postseason. It was senior night for the Crusaders, marking their final home game of the season. And there's a special guest on the sideline, none other than former Crusader James Robinson in attendance for primetime on Alpine. Let's get into the action here. North Boone wasting no time. Quarterback Jack Christensen on the keeper, and the Vikings are on the board first. Christensen in the air now finds Chris Dutch, and what a catch. Dutch is definitely one to keep an eye on. North Boone adds to their lead 14-0. Rockford Lutheran looking to get things going on offense now. It'll be Brandon Slater with the kick return, but he's stopped at the 10-yard line. The Crusaders will have to settle for a field goal to end the drive. Connor McKibben responding with a run of his own for the Vikings, but he's stopped with just 17 yards to go. Lutheran's Caden Gully nearly intercepts this pass in the end zone, but Christensen will connect with McKibben, who runs it in for the touchdown. North Boone beats Lutheran 34-3. North Boone is now eligible for the playoffs with 5 wins. The Crusaders will have to win their remaining 2 games against Oregon and Genoa Kingston to have a shot at the playoffs, and that won't be easy. Guys, back to you.
All right, thank you, Taylor. The Crusaders should have put James Robinson in that game, Scott.
Yeah, they could have used him in that one, yeah.
The Oregon Hawks got their 4th win and improved their playoff chances. They beat Rock Falls 39-0, and Dixon remained unbeaten by defeating Rockford Christian 55-6. That sets up a big showdown between Dixon and Byron next Friday in Byron.
Let's move on to the NUIC. DuPec suffered its first loss last week against Lena Winslow. Tonight, the Rivermen trying to rebound at Fulton. Good hard run here by Connor Hughes. He is in for the Rivermen touchdown. Let's see Hughes again in action. Another play here. Look at him. He is physical. He's in for another TD. Fulton's QB, Dom Kramer, picked off by Drew Williams, who will come up with a big return. Drew Williams is having a heck of a season, both at receiver and on defense. DuPec defeated Fulton impressively 46-14. Also in the NUIC, Lena Winslow beat EPC 46-6. Dakota victorious against Galena 20-0. That was impressive. And Stockton defeated West Carroll 46-0. Stockton improves to 3-4. They still have a shot at the playoffs.
Also tonight, Rochelle beats Sandwich 40-13, and Naperville Central defeats DeKalb 42-0. How about an 8-man football? Amboy defeated AFC 68-0, and Hiawatha took down Alden Hebron 64-43. Orangeville wins against Christian Life 56-18, and Polo beat Farmer City 52-12. Up next, it's our Overtime Spotlight segment.
We're going to shine it on those guys who generally are not in the spotlight, those hardworking guys on the lines, and what it takes to be one of them. Well, our highlights on this show generally feature quarterbacks, receivers, and running backs making big plays. That's why they're called playmakers. But the guys who make those plays possible are the guys on the lines banging away at each other. They leave their mark in the trenches, and that's tonight's Spotlight story brought to you by Benchmark Exteriors.
I think to play on the interior, you have to be tough. You have to be someone that's selfless, because it could be humbling in there depending on if you had 1 or 2 guys trying to attack you or if you're trying to attack them.
Go! Ken DeBose is on Harlem's coaching staff. He works with linemen. He himself was one in college, a nose guard, maybe the toughest position on the line. What do you look for in a good lineman?
Coachability is big, dependability, because you're asking them to do the same things over and over again. So when I'm looking at a guy, if he can move around a little bit and it's got decent size, that's a plus. But if he could think the game, because we're teaching you multiple techniques depending on what we're trying to do.
Noah Hickox played on the lines for Boylan back in his day. Then he played on defensive lines at the University of Minnesota and at Illinois State. Now he coaches Boylan's offensive linemen. What type of individual does it take to accept that role of not getting the spotlight, but getting pounded on at every snap of the football?
Just a lot of selflessness. I think that when you look at what offense and defensive linemen do, all they do is create opportunities for the guys behind them to make plays. And whether you do that job or you don't do that job, something good or bad is going to happen off of that.
So finding a good lineman starts with finding guys who are selfless. Then there are some obvious characteristics like toughness and a little nastiness. And then guys who say this to themselves.
The whole play has to run through me, and that's what I want. I don't want it to go anywhere else. I want the ball to run behind me. I want them to run right at me because I know I'm going to stop it. When you can get somebody like that, that's when you know they're pretty special.
Boylan has its share of guys like that. So does Hananiga. One of them is 280-pound senior left guard Drake Brogy. Because Brogy's always been a big kid, he's always played on the lines going back to his junior Indians days.
I fell in love with the line at a young age, just being aggressive. Even though you don't get talked about it much, it's just fun being with a group of guys and just get to be aggressive.
How early on in a game do you know that you're better than the guy across from you?
It's just the first play. The first play will really set the tone for the game.
We can all agree that playing on the line of scrimmage does not come with a lot of glory, so coaching staffs and teammates try to go out of their way to show their appreciation for the linemen, like maybe letting them be served first during team meals. Maybe no team has found a better, more unique way of showing its appreciation for its linemen than Byron has. Before kickoff of the first home playoff game every season, Byron's linemen are brought to the field on a big hog trailer. The players in the crowd go crazy.
Line play at Byron's a really important role, and we try to recognize them as much as possible. I mean, we make that hog trailer, that's a big deal for those kids, and they love it. And I think our kids respond to that, and they're excited about playing offensive line here. So that's kind of a way for us to say, you guys are awesome, and thanks for doing a great job.
Yeah, guys on the lines, we see you and we appreciate you, and we do try to highlight linemen on this show from time to time.
And we interview many of them during our August previews and each week for our Game of the Week coverage. We'll be right back. And it's that time of night where we bring you the best highlight captured on our cameras.
It is the Napleton Auto Group play of the night. Back to Hononegah against Belvedere North. It's the Cole and Cole show for the Indians. Cole Warren for Cole Schmall, and the one-handed catch. Oh, man, I can't see this enough times. That's big time, Cole Schmall. One-handed grab there.
That's no Schmall. That's no Schmall feet.
No Schmall feet. I like that. Hey, that's our play of the night, everybody. Be sure to join us every Friday night for Overtime right here on Fox 39, 11 p.m.
And remember, you can also see our highlights anytime on our website at mystateline.com. Have a great night, everyone.
Enjoy your weekend.